What is up, Scrub Fam? I am back with another video. It's been a while since my last video. My last video was about the Mecha Frieza Rada and all the craziness that went down with that. I just got back home from the San Jose Regional. I mean, I've been home for a couple hours now, but I've had time to get off of my plane, drive to my house, and now I'm back here all settled in and prepared to talk about the weekend. Before I get into that, let me give a shout out to Bearded Collectibles, Alec Pastrana, the best shop owner on the planet, the best sponsor in the entire world, is the main reason why all of us on the entire team were able to have such an exceptional weekend. We had an amazing time just as a team. We had this amazing place to stay that he provided, meals, everything. Everything was taken care of, and it was absolutely amazing. And having a sponsor like that and just having a genuinely good person like Alec behind the wheel of the team is an incredible thing, because we're all able to just see what our strengths and weaknesses are, continue to work together as a team, and then we have someone that's in charge of it all that is so responsible and caring and considerate of others that it was awesome to have that experience, to be able to bunk with him and just have everyone on the team under one roof. I mean, because I'm the only member of the team, I think, that lives outside of Florida, aside from Jose, who lives in Puerto Rico. So it was really cool to get everyone just under one roof. So that was an amazing experience. So big shout out to Alec. If you guys are looking to buy your sealed product for the draft boxes that are coming out this weekend, as well as Tournament of Power, which is coming out soon, please go to beercollectibles.com, put in your pre-orders right away. He has the best prices on sealed product, so please check that out and go ahead and get your sealed product from Alec Pastrana. So let's talk about the weekend, all right? So Friday, as you guys saw, I got into San Jose, California relatively early. I got in about like 10:30 in the morning, went to the gym, and then Alec picked me up. And then from there, he's done like a couple of videos, almost like a vlog style, of like stuff we did. So like we went to Costco and had to buy a bunch of snacks and stuff for the house, which was pretty fun. We bought some Squirt, which ends up being a large topic of conversations in a lot of our interactions with each other, is because we bought some Squirt, which is the thirst quencher. So if you guys ever have any Squirt, you should have some Squirt, as much Squirt as possible. I hope this video doesn't get demonetized because I use the word squirt too much, but Squirt is legit. It's a fantastic beverage. You should have some Squirt. And so from there, we finished that. We ordered pizza for everybody in the house, and then we began playtesting. I playtested a few decks. I was between veggies and apes in the evening, but then as games started to play out more and more, I just decided to lean towards apes. But I really wanted to hedge more towards playing a build that was better in the mirror in game one, and also better against veggies in game one, and then of course having a sideboard plan for those matchups too, as well as having a sideboard plan for SS3, because that's a deck that I expected to see. And so I decided to play apes with those tweaks, and I'll go over that list here in a second. So Friday night we play test, and then of course Saturday morning is the tournament. So tournament started. Before the event started, Jim had everybody raise their hands. So basically he paired everybody up in round one, not in round one, but just had this hypothetical round, and then essentially had everyone raise their hands that didn't have an opponent. And so what he then did was he then dropped those people that weren't there, and then he then repaired everybody. So attendance registered was 530, 540 people before the event actually started. But then because he did this, it actually limited the field down to 500. And so from there, we get the announcement that it's going to be 9 rounds, cut the top 32 before the first round actually starts. And it's not the best feeling in the entire world to, travel all across the country, and you're expecting a top 64 cut. You're expecting to have a little bit more room for variance in your matchups. And to then realize it's top 32 cut, you're going to be living on the edge, especially if you're someone that is, finishing the day at X2. You have a lot of things to think about before the rounds end, and of course you still have the possibility of missing. And so that happened to start the event. So overall in the event itself, I went 7-2. My losses came in round 3 to Will, who went on to get second place in the event, and then in round 4 to my buddy Paul. So I lost back-to-back rounds to Will and then Paul. And then I went on to, after round 4, I won rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I rattled off 5 rounds in a row to finish the day 7-2. So I felt really good about my day. And having Will as tiebreakers was good. But also, I don't know how Paul finished up during that day, but I knew that my tiebreakers weren't necessarily the best tiebreakers out there. But at the same time, it does suck to finish 7-2 because it's my best win percentage to date, which is 77% in a major event, and then not top. But at the same time, I felt really good about my performance, and I felt like I got closer to being in, what I was talking. I had a really good conversation with Richard Zapp um, about the tournament, and we talked about getting into your state of flow. And I felt like after I acquired my second loss, my mindset changed, and it was something that I'm going to continue to work on. And the mindset is essentially, it's what I used to have in, the last game I played, which is the Panini Dragon Ball Z game, which I never focused on the result of the games, ever. That was never my focus. My focus was only focusing on making the optimal play each and every single play. And then all those little micro decisions would add up to the result of the match itself. And so when you take that mindset out of thinking about the result of winning or losing and you focus strictly on playing as absolutely the best you can every single play, you end up increasing your overall win percentage because the fact that you're just not fixated on those things and you're not going to end up getting triggered by the result of a match. You're more so just focusing on what you can control. And so that's the state I got into after round 4 because I essentially had this attitude of, well, I'm here. And there was members of my team that had acquired their second loss and they just straight up dropped from the tournament. And so my mindset was, well, I'm already here. Let me just keep playing until I lose. And so each game I just played, I didn't really think about the result itself. I just played each game and played really well down the stretch. I mean, rattling off 5 rounds in a row is really difficult. I mean, Eon, of course, shout out to Eon Hill for winning the entire event, going 14-0. Like, that's insane. But, like, because, the amount of variance in the format that we played in is incredible and is a 500-person event, and, all the circumstances that went into that, like, huge props to Eon, but, I really felt myself get into that flow after round 4, and then I was really playing my best. And so my event ended that way. So I was 7-2, and then we go to top 32 announcement. 4 members of Team Bearded made it, and then, of course, 33rd was a guy I met. His name is Levi Burgess, awesome guy. He finished 33rd, and then I finished 34th. We were both X2. We both missed, so it sucked, but it happened. And like I said, was I disappointed? Like, yeah, I was. Because it's like, the event should have been a top 64 cut, and that you should have made it in. But at the same time, I did the best I could with the circumstances that I had and with everything coming into play. And if anything, this regional, that's why this video is titled San Jose Regional Recap Breaking Through, was this is kind of me breaking through the barriers that I had before that were stopping me from being the absolute best that I possibly could be. And now I feel like I'm able to take that additional step as a player. And getting the 7-2 was a big win for me. And it was also a big win for Pat O'Neill, who won the draft. I was on his team. I overperformed, apparently, by getting the 21 points for his team. He also had the Hill Twins and 4 Horsemen Anthony Hernandez on his team. So he ended up winning the draft, which was pretty sweet to see that. But I overperformed, outdid expectations, and I feel pretty proud of myself in that, and I feel really proud of the team too. Like, we have amazing players on the team. Jorge is incredible. Like, he doesn't make mistakes. He plays as optimal as possible all the time. Ben Stevens also made cuts same way. Chad, who made cuts same way. Alan, same way. They're all incredible. And so it's awesome to have those teammates that are that good and just, you continue to have things to strive for. Same thing with watching Eon's games or Anthony's games. Just watching all these high-level players and the way they are consistently just making the best decisions possible, that's definitely the thing that separates me from them. Like, I'd say I'm a really good player, but, if we're talking about, like, the top 5% in the game, like, the players that are absolutely the best, the players that top every single event, the major difference is the fact that they're just always in that state of flow when a tournament starts. They don't have to get into it, and they just are consistent. Like, they just always make the best play, always make the most optimal play, and that ends up being the thing that gets them their results. And so this tournament was big for me because I think it's going to help get me there. And as we go forward to the next events that I'll go to and, everything else, I believe I'll have more success going forward. So the event itself, I felt like it was a success. Of course, I really, really love the top 32 placement, just being in cut, because I know a lot of people were, hoping for that for me, but it just didn't work out, and that's okay. But my tournament packs were pretty dope. My tournament packs that I got for finishing 34th were a non-foil Foo, non-foil Bardock, and a foil Bardock, so that was pretty dope. So I was okay with that, so I can live with it. And then from there, after the event itself, we went home and I just passed out legit. Like, got straight in bed, like fell asleep. They went and got In and Out. They brought it back. I ate my double double and then went back to sleep and then just didn't wake up until the next morning. So I slept amazingly that night. And then Sunday we got up and watched Top 32. That was a lot of fun. It was cool to just hang out and talk to everybody that was at the event. I met a lot of people. You know, people had me sign things. Like, people came up to me and appreciated the content. Like, that's always an incredible thing, just hearing that feedback from the community. And so, sorry, I still have a cough from the flu a couple weeks ago. But being at the event itself and being with the community, of course, was incredible. And so I'm excited to continue making content now. I'm excited that the Mecha Errata is finally, it's coming. Like, May 1st, the brand new format starts. I know a lot of shops are already switching over now after this event. And so I'm just excited to get back into the lab and brew and make all these new decks, especially the draft box leaders, Khalifa. I'm so excited to build decks with her, as well as the new Bardock leader is going to be really good. So I'm excited to get back in the lab and start brewing and produce more deck profiles and also more gameplay content too. Now that my schedule switched back, I now close on Mondays and Tuesdays, but now I open on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. So I have a lot more time during my afternoons to do some content for you guys. So hopefully I can do some gameplay too. So other than that, so after the top 32 on Sunday, we went to this Mongolian barbecue place, which was like absolutely incredible. And, I got the medium spice as directed by John, our friendly store manager who insisted. And as Fern would say, it was ex-orrendo. So that was amazing. And then we got Mongolian barbecue, got back to the house. I know that the guys had picked up some adult beverages, but at that point, again, I was tired, so I just went to sleep, and then I caught my flight back this morning. But otherwise, like, amazing weekend. Like, there were so many interactions that I got to have with the team that I was really appreciative of, and just be able to spend time with them and be able to have some laughs and, have some memes and things like that. It was cool. And of course, the event itself, just like supporting each other and talking to each other between rounds, and then all of us having, the performances we did was awesome too. So it was a really good regional. I really enjoyed myself, and like I said, I think that this was a big step for myself, another big step for my development as a player, to hopefully be a top tier player in the game and be one of the best in the game, because that, it has to be the goal. I don't like to do things and just be, an also-ran. I want to be the absolute best at it, and I just got to continue working, and I'm sure I'll get there eventually. It'll take time, but I think with the right attitude, the right mindset, and just these steps that I keep taking and trying to find the positive, I think I'll get there for sure. So I ran into so many people at the event: Mr. Waffles, Zap, Chris Welch, all the Shinron Layers crew, Dusty, Trey Faircloth, Danny Hype. Like, everyone was amazing to interact with, and I'm glad I got to do that. And so overall, the regional experience was absolutely amazing. And if you haven't gotten to a regional yet, please do so. You need to get out to one as quickly as possible. These events are too fun. Even if it's not a regional, even if it's ARG Hartford and Team Wars, like, if you have the opportunity to go. Speaking with Levi Burgess, like, this was his first major event that he got to go to, and he had a blast. And, I just encourage everyone to try and find ways to go. I know it's difficult, finances and things like that, but you should make the trips. Gen Con is coming up. If you haven't been to Gen Con ever, and you want to use Super as an excuse to go, do so, because Gen Con's absolutely amazing. Even without the event itself, it would be amazing for you. So that's an experience you need to have. So in general, make sure you get out to these events. Now, for the stuff that people really don't care about, the deck list that I played for the event itself, that was Mega Apes, and the spice that I included in the main deck, that was different from my teammates, as well as, some stuff that I felt gave me a huge percentage in the mirror in Game 1, as well as against Veggies in Game 1, which ended up being huge for me. So I played Mecha Apes, as you see here. And my 8 packages are pretty standard, so 4 Grade 8 Prince Vegeta, 4 Bardock Will of Iron. Some changes: I'm only playing 3 of the Little King Vegeta, 2 of Big King Vegeta. Of course, I'm playing 4 March, 4 Planet, 4 Nimbus. The team was on 4 Nimbus. I thought that was definitely the right call. The card has just been way too good, and the amount of yellow we play in the deck is really easy to accomplish this. 4 Shigesh, 4 Explosive Spirit Son Goku. People were talking about 3, and of course, I got on my pedestal and talked about how, Explosive Spirit Son Goku is LeBron James, and you don't just bench LeBron James. You need to play 4. The card's just too good. It does it all. Blocker, barrier, kill something when it comes into play that's rested, and it untaps at the end of the turn. So the card just legitimately does it all. So played 4, and a lot of the teams switched to playing 4 in the main deck as well, which is pretty cool. And those that were already on it, they were in agreement. Some differences between my list and the teams. I ran 3 since you being in the main deck. 4 just always felt like too much. I didn't need to see it as often as, the 4 copies dictated, and so I wanted to make space for other tech in the deck. I only played 2 Manakas. Main reason why is because I split the slot with Father Son Kamehameha, and because of the fact that Manaka is really good, but I only found Manaka situationally good late game, and in the early game, of course, it's just your draw power, but it's not really the card you want to see in the beginning. You want to see Planet Vegeta more than anything. So Manaka was at 2 just for the additional ways to awaken, late game double strike, or just a blue source. I played 4 Bloodlust in the main. I think I may have been the only person on the team to do this, but the main reason why is because there's so many matchups where, number one, you need to see this card. So you need to see Bloodlust against Veggies no matter what. Because you need to Bloodlust the Kaba on turn 2. I know that people are saying that, it's fine, they can resolve the Kaba, whatever, but if you want to increase your win percentage, if you're Bloodlusting the Kaba on 2, instead of just playing to put your big King Vegeta in play before they get, before they start getting removal online, it's just way too risky. So, because there's a lot of times where the opponent will just go wide way too fast, and it won't matter if you get the big King Vegeta into play. You need to stop their momentum, and Cold Bloodlust does that for you. So the 4 Bloodlust was huge for me. And then lastly, I played 3 Father Son Kamehameha in the main deck. This card was clutch in so many different spots. I played against the Cell, I played against the Mirror, Veggies, everything. The plays that, the ideal line of play that happened when I played Veggies, at least in one game out of my set, which I played Veggies twice, and I 2-0'd both of them. In at least one game, I Bloodlust the Kaba and then Father Sunned it on my turn. And so when that happens, you're setting them back substantially in their turns, because now they didn't get a card off of Kaba, so they didn't get the Caulifla, they didn't get the extra life, or they didn't get a Kale, which was an extra card, and then you also just killed the Kaba. So now they can't Shugeshin to play Kale. So you've put them so many turns behind, they have to find another Kaba before they can do anything else. And so playing 4 Bloodlust, 3 Father Son felt really, really good. You could switch this number, you could play 4 Father Son, 3 Bloodlust if you wanted to, but I often found that having the 4th Bloodlust was also good because of Shugesh. Winning Shugesh battles is often really important, and a lot of times the big play is actually Cold Bloodlusting and Explosive Spirit Son Goku. Even if it can't kill one of your threats, that's fine. But just removing the blocker text is incredibly relevant, especially when you're trying to swing for game. So often having the additional Bloodlust won me a lot of games. It also gave me the freedom to charge a Bloodlust and still have 3 in the deck and not have to worry about it. So running the 4th copy was actually really big for me. The sideboard was 3 Crusher Balls, 2 King Vegeta Surprise Attack, 2 Fu Shrouded in Mystery, 2 Massey and the Mysterious Warrior, 1 Father Son Kamehameha, 2 Bad Rings. I don't remember what else, but that was the majority of the sideboard. That was a lot of the stuff that I sided in. 2 Zarbons as well, because Zarbons with the blockers as well as combined with King Vegeta Surprise Attack is absolutely insane. That was Dairon's tech, Dairon Roman. That was his tech, and he had an in sideboard, and so I decided to put it in mine. Big difference was I didn't play Mafuba in my sideboard, which looking back I probably just should have, but I never really had spots where I thought it'd be too relevant. But the biggest thing was having the Fu Shrouded in Mystery, because there were some decks that could go long, and that was my plan against SS3, was just against SS3 drag the game out as long as possible, and then build a board, and then just play a Fu Shrouded in Mystery, and that just wins the game. And then Mass Saiyan always came in against Veggies, because it's just the easiest way to just nuke their board. And so the sideboard actually worked out really well for me in a lot of different spots. I got tech that I needed. The card that I sided in the least was Zarbon. I thought that it was good, but not as good as I thought it would be in some of the different spots. But otherwise, the deck performed really well for me. Of course, I went 7-2, so I had a really good day with it. I think the only thing that I might change is I might find a way. I might make Father Son go down to 2 and Manaka go up to 3, but but that, of course, is just debatable. You could have it either way and you'd be fine. But, of course, Father Son you can still trigger on your turn without actually having a target. at least from what I heard. So that's kind of dope. And then, of course, two Scientist Fu. The card just overperformed drastically in the main deck. It always does because your opponent just can't really do much about it. And if they want to take the life to hand, they can. If they want to Cold Bloodlust it, because usually they're tapped out. But Scientist Fu is just an absolute bananas card. So I'm looking forward to that card to continue rising price because I have a ton of foil Scientist Fus from rando tournament packs that I've pulled. So that was the deck that I played. No regrets, honestly. Like, people ask me, is there anything that you change? Would you play the deck again? Would you run everything back the same exact way? And 100% I would. I would run it back the same exact way. My percentage against veggies and even androids and Cell was way too good with the 4 Bloodlust and the 3 Father Son Kamehameha. So I was really ready for almost everything in game 1. So my losses, like I said before, were to Will, who came in second with Mecha Apes, which we played the mirror, and just they were all rough games. Like game 1, he went first, had the march, he won. Like game 2, I went first. I didn't have the march, but I had a father son to delay him a turn, and then I won. And then game 3, he went first, he marched, he won. So just it wasn't that great of a set. Our draws weren't equal because usually when draws are like similar, both the games end up being really, really good when the draws are similar. But if the draws aren't similar, the games are just pretty one-sided. And then when I lost to Paul, he was playing SS3 Apes, and in game 1, I was just bad. Like, I didn't play around with Fuba, and that's just my mistake. Like, I didn't test the matchup that frequently, and so I just did it without thinking. It was just not second nature for me to remember that, and so that happened. And then game 2, I didn't make the same mistake, but my draw was just really poor. Like, I wasn't able to do a lot with the cards that I had in my hand, so I couldn't do really too much. I'm sure there's some points in the game that I could have tried to gain some percentage back. It definitely wasn't all just the cards I drew, but I definitely didn't do the most I could with what I had, and I ended up losing game 2 as well. And so that set was pretty rough. But of course, it allowed me to refocus and get ready for the last rounds, and then I ended up rattling off 5 in a row, which is pretty legit. So anyway, that was my San Jose regional recap and regional experience. I had a really good time. Like I said before, I can't thank Alec Pastrana enough for everything he did for the entire team. Like, just, the responsibility that he took, and, everything that went into it on his part was absolutely incredible that he did for us. And I'm so thankful for that. As well as I'm thankful for every member of the team on Team Bearded. I had a really good time and a really good experience. I wish I could have spent more time with more of the different individuals on the team itself, because some of my interactions were rather brief. But other than that, I really enjoyed myself, and I had a really good time at the regional itself. Seeing all the the players in the game and watching games, and just talking and chit-chatting with people was absolutely incredible. And, seeing Will get that second place finish was awesome. Like, I checked in with him throughout the day, see how he was doing, congratulate him over and over again. Like, it was dope. And then, of course, again, huge shout out to Eon for winning the entire event, going 14-0. Like, that's just insane. It's incredibly impressive in a format there's such high variance in your draws, and like, you could just draw poorly and just break and then lose. And, he overcame that and went 14-0. So that's awesome. So again, this event was huge for me. I definitely feel like I broke through a barrier, that was getting in my way of success. I think that, focusing more so and just playing as optimally as I can with the cards I have every single turn of the game is going to be my outlook going forward, and it's going to allow me to continue to break through. And I'm definitely, on track to improve another step and, break through and get a top cut at a major event. Because I've drastically improved with each event. I've increased my win percentage with each event, and I just continue to get better with more knowledge of the card pool, and then, of course, more decks to play. And now that the format's opening up with the Mecha Frieza errata, I know that now I get to truly shine when it comes to creativity, because before, when you're just playing the same thing that everybody else is, there's not a lot of room for innovation, so I try and pick my spots when I can. But now, with the format being opening up, I'm really looking forward to getting the content out to you guys, as well as looking forward to playing some spicy decks that are just going to be brand new and help revive the format and make this game even more amazing than it already is. Because the fact that 500 people went out to San Jose to play for more cards is just incredible. Like, people really care about this game. Bandai really cares about this game. From what I heard, they want this game to last a really long time, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure that it does. And so I'm incredibly excited. Closing thoughts. Get to a major event soon. Try some Squirt. And other than that, just focus on the things that I talked about. Focus on the things that I talked about that I'm focusing on. If you're not already there, if that's not the level of player that you are right now, if that's not what you focus on, if you have a hard time focusing from turn to turn and you just are so fixated on winning or losing, like, just try and narrow your focus to every single turn, every single play, and focusing on the optimal result and just managing the board state the best you can. And just that's how you're going to gain your win percentage. It's not from fixating on the result. It's from fixating on playing as optimally as possible across the entire course of a game and playing out the entire game and make them optimal plays. From the best in the game, like Jorge, who's absolutely incredible, Eon, Anthony, Chris Welch. Like, there's a lot of players that are absolutely insane at this game, and that's what they do. So continue to work on that. I will do the same. Like I said, get to a big event, get some squirt. Okay, bye!